Electric State role-playing game unboxing. Let's take a look at this road trip through an alternate 1997 America on the verge of collapse. It's featuring the amazing art of our boy Simon Stalling, which I'm absolutely in love with. I was very excited to get the art book for Electric State for Christmas, and when they announced that they were making this a game, I was very excited. This is like my backyard, you know. This one's set in America. It's set in like the 90s, early 2000s. It features places that I know. If you love road trips, if you love Route 66, if you love that hazy idea of traveling down the road through a quasi post-apocalypse wasteland, which what most of Middle America looks like, this game is for you. Of course, it's a Year Zero system. It's a part of the Tales from the Loop storyline. Tales from the Loop, of course, being that last childhood summer of the 80s. Things from the Flood being teenage years in the late 80s, early 90s, and then we bring us into the Electric State, which is, I guess, being an adult and taking a look at the America. This is basically Tales from the Loop in America, but an alternate America where this sort of this weird industrial post-apocalypse has happened. So here is a map. Here we are. There's me and Steve right there. Obviously, I got this mostly for the art. But if you're familiar with Tales from the Loop and the Year Zero, then here you go. How would you run this game? I'd steal a lot of stuff from Walking Dead. Probably the first two episodes, the first season of Van Helsing, the post-apocalypse world building, and just road trips. Just anything from Huell Hauser, This Is California, to Adam the Woo, to Justin, to Carpetbagger, Random Land, just that classic American road trip. And then just add in the threats of a bizarre techno post-apocalypse. The basic premise is there's this electric state. There's this addictive app, basically iPhone thing that people just plug into and just lose their brains. And so the world is sort of falling apart because more and more people are just plugging into the electric state and ignoring the world around them, as depicted by this picture. This guy's just in the middle of the nowhere, standing and staring, plugged into the electric state because he's so addicted to it, basically becoming a zombie. So we are playing the game. What is a role-playing game? Ideas about strangeness. Here we go. These giant ducks don't exist, but they are based upon an art exhibit that does exist out in the Nevada desert. If you travel out down the Nevada desert to some of the lesser known highways and byways, you will occasionally stumble across these gigantic metal statues or these gigantic statues of dogs, dinosaurs, whatever. They're just, nobody knows, who's doing them. The artists don't always often take credit for them. They're just out there. Same with like Slab City out by the Salton Sea. There's just these bizarre art installations. So while I don't think there's one of giant ducks, I am aware of several dinosaur ones and some ones of dragons and some other ones. So yeah, they're out there. So basically this is all about, stops, encounters, scenes, going from point A to point B, just taking that long, endless road trip. Also heavily, I think, inspired, if you've read Nomadland or seen the movie Nomadland, there's a lot of ideas there you could use to run this game of just constantly in motion, constantly driving back and forth, looking for work, looking for supplies. Think, it's Walking Dead, but without the zombies. Just other threats. It's more about just traveling and exploring. It's obviously not going to be a lot for everybody. Most people are going to want a little bit more action, I think, than this game offers. But there's mysteries. There's people trying to reclaim the world. people who don't know what's going on, how the world is slowly changing. First season of Fear of the Walking Dead, which was the only good season. Here we are again in the American Southwest Desert, looking at one of the art installations. This is probably an homage to Big Headicus or Cadillac Ranch. Then we got, of course, we got some little Tales from the Loop love. We got some Tales from the Loop robots out there. These look like they're the machines that Caltran used to lay down the phone wires. I wonder what Caltrans would be doing in the post-apocalypse, because, you know, Caltrans has to always be working. That's why you always see them, always on the road, always doing something. It's like a guaranteed, you know, career if you work for Caltrans. So this would be, I guess, post-apocalypse Caltrans, just the Caltrans robots still out there doing, constantly tearing up the road. A lot of history, you know. Again, some more, you know, driving down Route 66 or Route 50 or Route I-70 or I-5, and just the American wasteland, the American countryside. I mean, it's practically post-apocalypse out there as it is. So many small towns are just dying up and drying up and being abandoned, and things are just being left out there. And it's amazing how quickly, you know, nature reclaims these things. If you've ever watched Justin Scar's videos, he just did one recently doing Route 66, and places that he went and visited like a year ago aren't there anymore. They've just completely fallen to decay. So just imagine that would be a great resource. So we got some more world building, some more pictures, some more ideas. Here's like a traveling base station and all the people that are plugged into it, just feeding off the digital web. It's almost like a cult-like, you know, religion built around the traveling base station, and everybody's just plugged in. They've completely given up on life. So yeah, the art's very inspiring. Definitely a Route 66. You know, this looks like someplace out in like past Arizona, maybe Oklahoma, just empty dead towns and signs. Yeah, it's for me, this is beautiful. I love this. I love the art that Simon does, Tales from the Loop. This one especially, this is obviously Vegas. Here we got Los Angeles, Sacramento, all the different places. Here we go, here again, out there in the Southwest, probably Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, just random art installation. Roadside attraction. Character building. Typical character building for year zero, with the dice pools and everything like that, health and hope. I guess this will be qualified as hope punk, I guess. Talents. Character building equipment. Archetypes you could play: artist, criminal, devotee, traveling doctor, drone pilot, investigator, you know, outsider. How are you an outsider in a world of outsiders? Runaway kid in a world where there are, you know, nothing to run away from because everybody's plugged in. Some of these don't make sense. But it also does have to sort of plug into the Tales from the Loop multiverse, so I guess why. How to run the game, all the bits and bobs, actions, rounds, initiative. Here's like a giant gravitronic thing. He talks about the gravitronic fleets in all his art books. You know, just imagine like when you just see long trains going down a train track, or just convoys of trucks. But then Simons talks about how in this alternate world where they discovered this gravitronic technology that, you know, feeds off the energy from the loop, where these huge, gigantic, basically floating trucks the size of battleships just slowly moving across the countryside. And then, of course, they inevitably always crash because the power runs out, or just there's people aren't paying attention to them. So just other things you could explore. A lot about exploring and ruins. And I mean, again, I don't know if they mentioned this in the book because we haven't gotten to this section yet, but I would highly recommend if anybody wants to play this and run this to watch Huelhauser, to watch some of the, traveling across Route 66 videos that people like Justin Scard and Adam the Woo have done. Hazards, more world building. Most of this art's in the book. I haven't seen anything new yet, though I spoke too soon. Here's some new art. Here's the drones. Again, he talks about, how automated warfare and, everything's going to be fought by drones in the future. And, you might have like civil wars between like Texas and Oklahoma, and the drone pilots in Texas and the drone pilots in Oklahoma fighting. But then what happens when the war's over? What do the drones do? Are the pilots still plugged into the drones, and how they just sort of power down a more American Southwest. Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah. Vehicles, that looks like Seattle. That's a bridge in Burbank. Wonder when he came to America, if we just based this all on pictures he saw of America. That looks like Seattle. A lot of the world building. Here we go to the journey. Vegas. Planning the journey, threats along the journey, personal threats and shared threats, things you can do, tension along the journey. What is the goal for each journey, whether it be point A, point B, get supplies, deal with raiders, just explore, find missing people, try and figure out what happened. Again, early Walking Dead, early Fear of the Walking Dead. Just any travel movie, ending the journey, setting the scenes. No, that's definitely the Painted Desert. That's New Mexico. Digital Doggy. Oh man, look at that one. Yeah, that's definitely Seattle. I think the book ends in Seattle or Northern California. Yeah, look at that coastline. That's Northern California. Some of this is new. I don't recognize these. The ever omnipresent threat of the technology, and combining it with like just how the world is sort of becoming overgrown and nature is retaking. So you've got that and just the emotion. I mean, I don't know how you play this. I'd love to play it, run it. I don't know if I'd ever find an audience. I mean, this is definitely one of those things I bought just cause. Isn't all new. Yeah, this looks like Ventura, actually. This is androids. Here we are back in Seattle. I love this one, talking about the made-up TV show. I mean, you'd see this on a road somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A giant billboard talking about a TV show called, like The Simpsons or whatever. With the snow, I'm going to say Colorado. Again, Colorado. Here we got just a swarm of these little people addicted to the electric state. I mean, how is this different than just watching a whole bunch of people walk around with their heads in their cell phones? I mean, I'm recording this on a cell phone. This is just, perfect reflection of what our world's like today. And again, as just as the technology marches on, more and more of the smaller places just sort of revert back to emptiness. Again, you just watch these videos of guys traveling across America, and the minute they get out of a big city, you just see miles and miles of empty and abandoned towns. And it's not just America. I mean, it's happening in Japan. You hear about all the small towns in the Japan countryside that have been completely abandoned, and basically entire cities that have become ghost towns. And the long history of ghost towns in America. Here's like a little adventure. Yeah, and just things you can do. Yeah, this is definitely, this is not your kill 'em all game. This is definitely a game that deals with emotion, storytelling. I can imagine it's not for everybody. That sense of loss. Oh, there's right out of Ready Player One, an archaeology. This is something that I'm surprised this hasn't happened yet, but I mean, we're close to it. You see these wandering camps of RVs. There's the yearly one out in the desert, where, you know, thousands of RV people just meet every year for 2 weeks of the year. And it's become this huge thing. I mean, you see it in Nomad Land. So, I mean, this is the future of America. I have no idea what that one is. That's definitely nightmare fuel. Can you imagine running into that in the middle of the night? More robots, more adventures. Again, the continuing theme, Simon's continuing theme of the ever-present increasing behemoth of technology, but as the technology becomes more and more omnipresent, more and more things slip away, you know? More and more small towns vanish or reappear, you know? I mean, if you wanted to hide out, there's plenty of just abandoned towns all across America that you could go into and probably live a quite long time. In fact, there's a YouTuber who spent 5 years rebuilding a ghost town. The only other time he went into town was like once a month. He just drove his Jeep into the nearest town once a month, filled it up with supplies, and then vanished again. And over like 5 year time, he rebuilt an entire ghost town, and, you know, easily could disappear. So there's a lot of, yeah, you know, the history, reality, decline of the United States. Yeah, this is just beautiful. I mean, this is, again, Simon's beautiful melancholy, as I refer to his art. Again, it's not for everybody. I'm sure there's plenty of people who are telling in a post how this game's stupid, and it's a story game, and there's no action, and it's not 1.1 Bronstein, and it's not OSR, and blah, 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 blah. And games like this suck. So, and to them, I just say, go fuck yourself. This is, you know, everything I love about role-playing. Just the when you lose yourself in the story. Just, you could just look at this and just be taken away by the art. I love waxing poetic about Simon's stuff. If you've ever seen my videos on Tales from the Loop, you know I can get really deep and emotional and lost in his art. Yeah, I just love his imagery. Probably because it's my backyard, and probably because it's you know, his 80s is my 80s. So yeah, huge fan of this series from Free League Games. Huge fan of Simon's art. Huge fan of the Tales from the Loop multiverse. If you're a fan of Free League's overpriced games, this is probably something you want to get. If you're a fan of Simon's art, or just the idea of the never-ending road trip, this is probably a game you're interested. Again, it is Free League, so it's more expensive than it should be. I kickstarted it. So that's why I have it now. It's probably available on the website. Yeah, this is definitely something that you're either going to love or you're just not going to give a damn about. If you already are a fan of his stuff and of the Tales from the Loop multiverse, then yeah, you're probably going to like it. And if you're not, then, you know, you're not. But it obviously is not for everybody. So that's my first walkthrough. What do you think? Do you want to see me do more with this? We still got to finish Dragonbane. That's Friday. Till next time, I'm the OG GMs. Thanks for sticking with me and hoping we unbox this beautiful book. See y'all later. Take care.